As you can see, they are shooting our people. They are shooting our people. They are shooting our people. They have killed about 2 people. Our 2 people are down now. 2 boys are down on ground already.
Hello and welcome to another Brown Media, and of course it's Today in the News. My name is Precious Chukudi, and I'll be starting off with the front page of the papers this morning, and I'll start off with Vanguard. And main headlines on Vanguard: more pressures as growth in non-oil export revenues stagnates. The riders, pressure mounts on forex revenue, exchange rates, cocoa, cashew exporters may lose $200 million. Also on page 32, insecurity situation worrisome, Ajibola, Senate spokesman. And on page 13, mayhem as police IPoB members clash in Enugu. The riders, commotion as police storm IPoB gathering, bid to disperse meeting, gunfire, tear gas as IPoB members resist police. 4 killed, 5 arrested, says police. IPoB not true, 21 killed, 47 arrested. And on COVID-19 updates, we have Lagos records 130 new infections as confirmed cases rise to 52,227. Also, Edo PDP playing devil's card over Gambari-Oshiomhole video, says Presidency. Rider as APC tackles Obaseki over modular refinery, as 17 lawmakers probe sack of local government chairman. Some critics of Obaseki are colossal failure, says aide. DSS needs APC chieftain over security. Also, stories above, we have 2023 senators rep dump electoral act partner CSOs for new law in November. You can see that story on page 7. And on page 5, killings, Catholic bishop warns rulers, youths, religious leaders. And on page 10, we have Ondo PDP, ZLP rather, others kicks as APC clears 14 local governments. Away from the Vanguard newspaper, we move straight to the Punch newspaper. And main headlines on the Punch, we have APC interim panel compiles errant members list to propose expulsion. The writer says a caretaker committee writes 2 letters on withdrawal of cases to state chapter. A reconciliation, APC dumps Akonde-led panel opts for fresh committee. Also on this day newspaper, we have Tambuwa consult Obasanjo, Mark Danjuma over 2023 presidency. And on the Nation newspaper, we have court freezes 65 accounts for forex manipulation. And that's all we can take on the front pages of the paper this morning. And we're going into the newspaper analysis segment, where I'll be joined in by my guest in the studio. We're going on a short break. When we come back, you meet the guest and we'll talk more. We'll be right back. Alright, welcome back, and if you're just still joining, it's still Today in the News. My name is Precious Chukudi, and this is the newspaper analysis segment where I'm joined in by my guest in the studio. He's in the person of Mr. Ali Mohammed, CEO of Magnet Communications, also former editor of Daily Times and Concord newspaper. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Precious. How are you?
Fine, sir. All right, we saw the videos of what was happening in Enugu between the IPoB members and also the police clash. What's your take on what happened over the weekend?
I want to condemn what happened in its entirety, because both the police and the demonstrators have their own faults. I am not against the pursuit of any legitimate cause through peaceful negotiation, peaceful demonstration, and all that. But we all know the attitude of the Nigerian police to any demonstration at all. They feel threatened, and they actually get threatened. And I am sure that was why we had that clash in the first place. From what I read, the demonstrators were not out to cause violence, but in the normal demonstrations that we always have in Nigeria, it is usually hijacked by touts, miscreants, and all sorts of characters if it is not properly controlled. And that was the situation we had, and the police had to come in at that stage to restore peace. I want to appeal for responsible and peaceful demonstrations. If you have any issue to talk about, if you feel that the time is not yet ripe to sit with the authorities to discuss and trash out these issues, and you must demonstrate, your demonstrations must be arranged in such a peaceful manner, and in a manner that will be devoid of total breakdown of law and order. And you all know that the police will not sit down and watch while people are going against the law. I condemn it. I want, again, the police should always exercise restraints. It's not all demonstrations that could turn violent. That's what I can say for now.
All right, so let's talk about the killings that have been happening in the southern Kaduna, and we've been getting a lot of response from different stakeholders saying that everybody has their own opinion of what is happening in southern Kaduna. But I want to ask you, do you think that some stakeholders have sort of escalated the killings by the words, the things they've said?
Let me take you back to the history of this killing in southern Kaduna. It's not a fresh thing. It's been lingering since the days of the military regimes in Nigeria. Don't forget that one of their prominent sons in southern Kaduna, Zamani Lekwot, Major General Zamani Lekwot, was sentenced to death because of his involvement in that crisis. He was later pardoned, and it has been a recurring decimal with different administrations and political parties coming into power in Kaduna State. So I have just said that for us to know that it's not just a fresh issue, it's been there, and it's a purely religious crisis. The southern Kaduna indigenes are mainly Christians, and you have the Muslims in Kaduna fighting against them. But from what I am seeing now, it has gone beyond the religious crisis, and it has gone to like an ethnic crisis. There is a kind of ethnic coloration added to this crisis, and we have people who are supposed to be stakeholders here. Some people are accusing the state governor of not doing enough to check the excesses of the killers and all that, and the state governor keeps saying that he has taken all kinds of steps to ensure that the killings in southern Kaduna stops. But the truth of the matter is that we should not allow religion to cause division among us to a level that we will now start killing ourselves. It doesn't make sense. We want to appeal to the leaders of both the Muslims in Kaduna and the Christians in southern Kaduna to come to a round table. No matter how tough a war is, you settle it at the table at the end of the day. We should find a lasting solution to this. Like I keep saying, every life is important, every life is sacrosanct. It shouldn't be killed. Yeah, people should not be killed anyhow. So, and I'm sure this is one of the reasons why the former Sultan himself, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, His Highness Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, left Lagos on a week trip to Kaduna to also help to find a solution to this crisis. I only hope and pray that his efforts will pay off, because a lot of lives are being taken daily, and it is not the best that should be happening to us at this crucial time of our nation.
The Catholic bishops were, admonishing traditional leaders, rulers, and the religious leaders, as well as the youths, that they should stop reprisal attacks. Because some people, they killed my people. And
that has been the problem. Yes. Once you have killings by the Muslims against the Christians want to retaliate, and that is why this crisis has continued to linger. We must rise above acts of retaliations. If it has happened, it has happened. You will continue to have more problems if one side want to retaliate for the killing of another side. I think, like I said, people should embrace peace. That is very, very important. They will gain nothing if the federal government declares a state of emergency in Kaduna. If care is not taken, a state of emergency could be declared there. Once there is a high level of killing in southern Kaduna and the situation is not brought under control, like I keep saying, when two elephants fight, the grass would suffer, and that is already the situation in Kaduna. The religious leaders, none of them are being killed. Those that are being killed are the ordinary people. So they should embrace peace at the level of leadership they occupy, and spare the ordinary Nigerians that are being killed daily in this southern Kaduna crisis.
Some persons have mentioned that poverty and unemployment is one of the reasons why insecurity has risen. What exactly do you think that the government
well, poverty and unemployment, but I see bad orientation, terrible orientation. Why would everybody sit down, and especially the Islamic youths, they go to the mosque and they give them this terrible orientation that if you are able to kill one person who is an infidel, you are going to be embraced by 7 virgins in Al-Jannat. I don't know how far that is true, but it's a very stupid and senseless orientation for any Islamic leader to give to its followers. It's bad orientation. We have unemployment everywhere, in the southwest, in the east. So in Niger Delta region, people are unemployed there, but we've not had this kind of killings because we don't have the kind of orientation that they are giving to some people in the north. Because if you go to the north, you see a mass of unemployed youths. In fact, small children from age 6 to 7 doing nothing. They have left their homes and they are on the streets. So we must go back to the basics of ensuring that our children are well brought up within our homes. The English people will say that charity begins at home. We must give normal good upbringing to our children so that they won't listen to terrible orientation from outside. This is the way I see it. It's not about, there is unemployment everywhere, even in the UK, in America, there is unemployment, but they've not resorted to killings. What I see here is the terrible orientation that they give to these youths.
All right, so let's focus on Edo State, and their elections is coming very soon.
September 19th.
Yes, and it turns out that there's a video clip showing the chief of staff to the president, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, and chatting along a walkway in the presidential villa with former chairman of the APC, that's Comrade Oshiomhole. What do you think of that video clip?
Well, I have listened to. I have watched the video clip. The voices of these two people, the chief of staff and Comrade Oshiomhole, their voices were not clear. So it is difficult to say that they have discussed anything. What we've had so far as I'm concerned, are insinuations. And to the extent that the chief of staff is the gatekeeper to all visitors to the villa, VIPs. All VIPs goes through the office of the chief of staff before they go to the office of the private office of the president. I think that was what happened, and there was a discussion as they were going. That discussion was not audible, so it is difficult to attach any meaning to the discussion between the chief of staff and Oshiomhole. What we have are mere insinuations from the PDP that they were talking about security and all that. Maybe they are alluding to that because Oshiomhole himself told the press that he had come to the president to seek for improved security in Edo State. So they are just insinuating there is a statement from the presidency on it, and I think that statement has cleared everything. But personally, what we are having about the discussion between the chief of staff and they are mere insinuations. You can't attach any importance to it, except somebody can prove it by recording a clear discussion between these two people. Then I will believe that they have discussed any serious thing concerning the election that is coming in Edo State.
Okay, because the PDP, has in the last few days addressed several press briefings.
I have listened to them. Let them come up with the voice notes, a voice note showing the discussion or revealing the discussion between these two people.
And also there's been effort for people to also discredit the Professor Gambari before he came, and they were saying that he's sort of not in the minds of the people and all those kind of things. Do you think that this video clip in itself between him and Oshiomhole would cause more agitation
for for his removal as chief of staff? If you look at the person of Professor Ibrahim Gambari, he was a Minister of Foreign Affairs during the military regime of the late Sani Abacha. He was an ambassador in several countries, representing Nigeria in several countries. He has served in different committees in the United Nations and the Organization of African Unity, OAU. So his pedigree is such that I believe that is more than qualified to hold that position, and he is a man of honor. Some of the condemnation that came or that arose from his appointment are petty rivalry between two people when they were young, and they struggled, and in the process of struggling they did a lot of things to get to the top. I'm talking about the main opposition to Professor Ibrahim Gambari's appointment was the revelation by Professor Fafurera, that the man did a few things which amounted to betrayal, to his own betrayal. And you see, as young boys and girls, when you are young, you are bound to want to cut corners to get to the top. So that does not reflect the true character of that person, even if it happened. So much so that at over 80, Professor Fafora still referred to that. I believe that over the years he should have forgotten that and moved on as friends, because they are both friends. So if you are my friend and you just remember what I did about 40 years ago, and you are saying that it should be used against my appointment, I don't regard such a person as my friend. So I see Professor Gambari as one that is qualified to hold the position of the Chief of Staff to the President, and so far you have seen a reflection of his performance on that post in the activities of the Presidency. So is eminently qualified to hold that position, not minding the few condemnations of his appointment that came from some disgruntled people.
All right, still on Edo State, Pastor Sagi Izeyamo has come to say that Oshiomhole is not his godfather, and that what he have is just mutual respect. But then we saw what happened between Oshiomhole and Obaseki, how he, guided him through, his elections, and now they are both at loggerheads. Do you think that this kind of situation is what's going to happen between Pastor Izeyamo and Oshiomhole?
You see, it is difficult to predict what will happen now, because we are just going into the elections. For now, you cannot come out categorically to say that because Comrade Adams Oshiomhole is supporting Pastor Izeyamo, or he is 100% responsible for his election as a candidate of APC, that he has automatically become his godfather. You must have something to father as a godfather. If eventually becomes the governor, then you can be talking about somebody being the godfather to the governor. Yes, he's mobilizing all resources to ensure that Pastor Izeyamo becomes the governor. It is still too early to conclude that Oshiomhole will be the godfather of Izeyamo. I want us to leave it at what the pastor said, that they are mutual friends. A friend can go to any extent to help his friend. So let's leave it at that. If we start insinuating that yes, Adams is going to be the godfather of Pastor Izeyamo, what is the cause of the crisis in Edo State? Is the fact that, as alleged by Governor Obaseki, that Comrade Adams Oshiomhole was trying to play the role of a godfather to him. He wanted to be dictating the pace of his government, and that is the cause of the quarrel. If that is true, nobody can say categorically. But right now, I don't want us to conclude that Comrade Adams Oshiomhole is going to play the same role if Pastor Izeyamo becomes the governor. You see, individuals have their characters and their approach to issues. If you have a mind of your own and you want to rule according to the dictates of your mind, nobody can play the role of a godfather over you. The person can give advices at all times, offer constructive advice at all times, but it is not compelling that you, as the governor, must accept such advice.
Let's talk about the role of the godfather. I mean, this godfatherism thing is what we've been hearing a long time coming.
Yes.
Someone is the godfather. Like, how does this really work? Like, do people just come out and say, okay, I want this man to be my godfather because he's been in politics?
You see, godfatherism has become part of Nigerian politics. Let me take you back to when former President Obasanjo was released from prison. The person that drafted him into the presidency was former President Ibrahim Babangida. Don't forget that the man traveled all the way from Mina to go and meet former President Obasanjo in Abeokuta to tell him that he must join the presidential race. And the man agreed. And he made a statement. He said, my hand is on the plow and there is no going back. And from that point, people saw IPoB and former President Abdulsalami Abubakar as his Obasanjo's kind of godfather. You know, anytime people wanted anything from President Obasanjo, then they would go to IPoB. So it's been the order in Nigerian politics. Look at Asiwaju Tinubu. If you count a few people who have been governors in Lagos State, they all came through the support of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So people see him as a godfather to virtually all the governors of Lagos State, even though they had disagreements at some point. So Godfatherism has become part and parcel of the Nigerian politics, and it is not totally right. A governor should be left to determine the kind of administration that he wants to have, even though this has to be done in consultation with the political party that the governor represents. But what we have are individuals who play the role of godfathers, dictating to these governors what they should do, which are usually in their own personal and selfish interests. That is the way godfathers operate in Nigeria. A godfather can sit down and tell the governor that you must give 10 billion contracts to his younger brother, and he has no choice but to give. He has to accept what his godfather is saying, and it negates the very essence of democracy, that a human being, because you supported somebody to become governor, you now become the one that dictates the pace in the administration of that state governor. It is undemocratic. But you see, it has become a norm in Nigerian politics, and some governors are trying to resist godfatherism, and in the process they run into trouble with these so-called godfathers. We've had such situations in Lagos State, the Ambode crisis, and then so many other states. We've had such situations there. So the earlier individuals that want to contest for elective offices decides on how they want to be, what they want, without the support of money bags, then the lesser we will have the influence of these so-called godfathers.
All right, the NBA has withdrawn their invitation to El-Rufai, and this is stemming from the fact that some, sections of the NBA have said that, there's a lot of things going on in Kaduna, and how do we invite him to come give a talk in our annual conference? And Sanusi has faulted their decision and said it is sad and for freedom of speech in Nigeria. What do you think about that?
I condemn in its entirety the disinvitation of El-Rufai. Why would you disinvite him? Has he been implicated in any way in the southern Kaduna crisis? He's the state governor, for God's sake, and he keeps telling us that he's doing his best to find a solution to the crisis. My attitude to this is that if I have a quarrel with anybody, I go to that person or invite that person, hear him out, and tell him what he has done wrong. Basically and fundamentally, too, the Nigerian Bar Association, apart from being the body that ensures the welfare of lawyers in Nigeria, is also a pressure group. Through NBA, you never can say we could find a solution to that crisis by inviting El-Rufai and tell him what he has done wrong or what he has not done to solve the Kaduna crisis. So it is unacceptable to me that you have invited him, and simply because he's the governor of Kaduna State and there is a crisis in Kaduna and nobody has legally indicted him for being a prime suspect in the filtering crisis, and you now disinvite him. Why not call El-Rufai, let him make his presentation and tell him where he has not done well as a pressure group, and prefer solution to how to solve this problem? That is my opinion about that. Disinviting him, you are not helping the people, you are not helping the state government, you are not coming up with any solution to that crisis, so the crisis continues. The NBA as a pressure group should join hands with any government, being a state government, local government, or the federal government, to help find solutions to problems that seem as if it is festering, and the state government alone has not been able to find a solution to it. That is what I expect from the NBA.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Ali Mohammed, CEO of Magnet Communications, as well as former editor of Concord
Thank you.
and Daily Time News. But thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Most welcome.
All right, you can equally like, share, and subscribe on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. As well as you want to find out more of our top stories, you can go straight now on our website, www.vanguardngl.com, to find out more of what's happening in the country and the world. Till I come your way next time, I remain Precious Chukudi. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely day.